have that instinct automatically? Because remember, some of this stuff is genetic. They either have it or they don't, right? This is what it's all about, people. Attack the boy! He must know that I'm in the dog fight with him. I'm next to him side by side. We have a bond that's unbreakable. Yeah, we live, but still try to do it if you can. Did you get the, what you call it?
Yeah, I'm still waiting on it to come.
We'll let people come in. Hey, people, come on in. Come on in. And the cool thing about this one, Will, is look at this. People, you see the comments? Salute. You know.
Okay.
People, and then, yeah, so from time to time, you know, within this hour and 5 minutes or whatever, we'll let people ask questions.
Absolutely.
Look at this right here, King. Appreciate it, guys. Come on in. We're just doing some technical things. We want everybody to get a chance to listen to this. Every motherfucking body.
Come on in the room.
Man, I got, man, this is the first time in a long time, man, I've had like a bunch of interviews lined up, like almost every day. I got something lined up, like tomorrow, Nate Schumer, and the next day I got this guy from River City Baubles. This guy does weight pulling with his baubles.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking about 1,000 pounds weight pulling. And I got in studio, in person, people coming in. Some Connie Corso people, Caucasian Shepherd people. I think I overextended myself, man. So you never got the code, huh?
No, we just go ahead.
Yeah, okay. All right, so, hey, people, I want to say thanks again for taking that time out, wherever you are or however you may be watching, to watch us entertain you for 59 minutes and 42 seconds. I've been really marinating on doing this interview, and I said, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And I wanted to get Will on. Will from Page Haus Rottweilers. Now, before we get into it, oh yeah, I forgot about that, right? Shit, I'm still doing. Hold on.
All right, there you go.
Haus.
There you go.
And before we get into it, I want to ask you a question. So I have 2 or 3 that I can name. All-time favorite movies that you can watch. Like when we get off this podcast, you can watch it and it's still entertaining. Your best movies, 2 best movies.
Is it 2?
Don't be saying no Goonies. Garrett said Goonies.
No, man.
Don't say no Goonies, dog.
No, I'll say what is that? The thing, Joe, you should maybe draw a blank now. I know the movie.
Tell me who's in it. I can tell you what it is.
I don't know nobody like that, man. I know that it was the Storm movie, Perfect Storm. That's Perfect.
It. Oh, you're talking about Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it. George Clooney. Got it. Okay, what's the other favorite movie? Now, this we're talking about your all-time favorite.
All-time favorite?
Yes.
All-time favorite. Let's see. Actually, you know what, man? I'm dating myself too a little bit, but that's okay because I love Car Wash, man.
Now you know you're only a year older than me, right? Come on now.
Right.
I'm okay. 71. You 70.
So you know then.
Well, I got one better than that.
What's that?
Blues Brothers.
Okay. All right.
Right?
All right.
We,
Now I got
we're talking about the original.
And number one, the first one, when they did that scene.
Which
off the
one?
bridge,
Oh my! You talking about
that was
when
in
the car
Milwaukee.
that was in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
You talking about when he was running through the white supremacy group, or when he was
went off the
and it fall all the way down to the Oh. That movie was classic. Like Ray Charles was in there, Aretha Franklin.
Right. Yep.
I mean, some real hitters. James Brown, Shaka Khan.
Yep.
So give me another good movie. One of your favorites.
Let's see.
You gotta think too long for that one.
No, actually, I got one. It's not really a movie, but it's a series, man. As a matter of fact, it was crazy because I watched my kids. I make my kids watch this every year, man. Roots, man. It's a series, man.
Roots.
Yeah.
You know, Roots was coming out when they was snatching kids up in Atlanta. So okay, all right, Roots is cool. That ain't my favorite, but it's a good one.
I know.
My 3 favorite movies: Blues Brothers.
Okay.
Terminator, the first one. The first one.
Oh, okay. It was all right.
And Gladiators. Gladiators.
Okay, I'll give you Gladiators. Okay, I'll give you Gladiators.
Damn, man.
I'll give you Gladiators.
Okay. And you know what's funny is that, and people, we just having conversation. The second Gladiator was like, how they gonna have Denzel bringing that Training Day swag? And I'm like, wait a minute, motherfucker, you down there fighting the Tigers?
Yeah.
You wasn't able to sit up in the stands.
No, I didn't like the second one.
The second was booty. It was whack. I appreciate you coming on today, man.
I appreciate you having me, brother.
You know, I mean, it's real talk. And we got some things to cover. When we had an off-air talk, but we're going to talk now. Number one, tell us who you are, where you're located, and why the Rottweiler breed.
Cool. Well, first of all, we're located right here in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin, which is really just 30 minutes south of Milwaukee, probably about an hour north of Chicago. The Rotti. Interesting story behind that, man. I grew up, man. I was a German Shepherd, man, fan. I love the German Shepherd dog. I grew up watching Roy Rogers, man. I was crazy about
you Bullet. Really dating your age, right? Because
hey, man, I was crazy about Bullet, and I named the first German Shepherd I had. I named him Bullet. But anyway, my wife, she had some other dog. I don't even know, some other little dog. But anyway, we compromised on a Rotti. I always wanted a Rotti, but back then it kind of had a little bit different stigma to it, right? So it's like, you get a Rotti, you might, it's like the Doberman back then, and everything like that. But I always said if I ever wanted a different breed, it would be the Rotti. So just ironically, we kind of we meshed on that. We agreed on that. Man, we went out and purchased a Rotti, and then we got another Rotti, and man, and we just fell in love, man, and the rest has been history.
The Rotties have changed so much. They've evolved in so many ways. I think they've gotten prettier. I mean, from the 30-year ago Rotties, you know what I'm saying? They gotten darker, the mahogany markings. I like darker markings all the way down here. But I've also seen where some of the breeders overseas have changed the actual phenotype, like with the jaw, the Down syndrome look. You know what I'm talking about?
Right,
like
right.
The immature look.
Right, kind of pushed in a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How was that? And again, I'm not badgering any kennels over there overseas. I kind of like a little bit of the Timitor look. I used to like the Timitor attitude dogs, the Timitor and the Genix Wutans lines, Wutans, and I like Rotties that had that like that mean streak. That was just me, right? And so now that I'm a Rotti guy, I got one. It's a lot different from the Dobermans. My Rotti Brutus, you ain't got to activate him. He's already activated. Like, we didn't have to flank him. We didn't have to put him on a table. He already knew what to do in the backyard. Be an alarm, show his presence. So my question is to you today, have the Rotties changed for the better from 30 years ago, or have they changed where now they're in different directions and people are going in their own lanes, and it may not be good for the breed standard?
Well, to answer the first part of the question in terms of change, if you go back and do research, yeah, you're going to see some phenotype changes, from, as we would call it, old style Rottweiler. I mean, personally, I'm a fan of that look, that junkyard look, that hard, this is what you want to walk down the street with, you know what I'm saying? So I'm a fan of that look. So yeah, it has changed a little bit. It all depends, where you at and what are you looking at? I'm not necessarily a fan of a lot of what you see. I like the size of Ellisnane and everything like that, but I definitely don't like the entire Timbertor look now. You know what I mean? But that's just for me personally. So has it changed the breed? I mean, yes and no. I mean, again, to each his own. To some degree, yeah. I mean, again, I don't like the whole look of that. The new, and I'm not knocking anybody's line, but the whole Timbertor line, I don't like that. I like everything else but the head. One would think that would have come with some issues because the dog wasn't bred to look like that. So anytime you start to, manipulate things, beyond recognition, I mean, it's different. It wasn't exactly what the creator intended for it to be. The creator intended for it to be. So yeah, I mean, there's some changes. But I think a lot of what fuels that is it's American, man, what people want. I think that's what at the end of the day, and that's what drives that.
You said the key word, America. We Americans, man, are so, and I hate to say all of us because like Shannon Sharp says, there's no such thing as all and everything. And I will say I got caught up in the hype when I first got into Dobies on the look. If you go where the dogs originated from over there in Germany, looks were important, but they were not the main thing. It was character of the dog, the heart of the dog. The looks come secondary, but they were all about the utility of the breed and what it could do for us. Every breed started with multiple dogs, right?
Right.
And those dogs were genetically created by man to make a particular breed. What I see as a dog owner, as a Doberman expert, self-proclaimed Doberman dog father is, and maybe you could tell me because I have one family member in this Rotti game. You guys have multiple family members, like you got multiple Rotties. I got one. In the Doberman world, people are no longer breeding for its original purpose. And the Doberman is the only breed that was created to be a personal protector by Louis Frederick Doberman. What I'm noticing now is that people are buying these dogs with a specific purpose or multiple purposes, and they're not using them, and it's doing a disservice for the dog. And then when people start breeding the dog, then you're taking that geno out of them because you're trying to breed for a calmer but impressive looking dog. Case in point, the bullies, XL bullies. When I went on to the bully show, and shout out to all the bully breeders, you guys are phenomenal. But the number one thing that I asked them when I was at that Cinco de Mayo XL bully show, I said, what are you breeding? What is the number one and most important thing you're breeding for? They said temperament. Now, in my world, because my dogs have to have that, there's no way I could align my boys up to all those different ass males, shoulder to shoulder, without something cracking. It's not happening. I have to separate the ones I got now.
Right.
Right. So why do you think people now are breeding for a calmer temperament versus what the breed was specifically designed for?
Well, to be simply put, I mean, people don't care. I mean, you got to understand, we live in a generation now where we feel like we can get what we want, have what we want, when we want it. So when people go to look at dogs now, they don't, we don't even use the dog like we used to use the dog. A lot of things have replaced the dog. So when people get dogs now, of course, everything is about what you see first. They're not worried about, what this dog was created to do, because they're never going to use it like that anymore. So unfortunately, yes, as time goes on, unless you have, certain breeders, certain societies that hold on to that original design, you're going to continue to stray away from it based on the needs of the people.
That leads me to another question. So on an average, what type of clients are buying dogs from you, and what are their main concerns when they're buying puppies from you?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a good question. The majority of people that buy dogs from me, they're looking for pets. They're looking for something that's brown and black. Mm-hmm. They're looking for pets. They like big. I get more calls. People want to know the weight of the dog before they even want to know the health or anything else. As if you're going to automatically have, and here's the thing, you hear a lot of people talk about the sizes and things of that nature there, it gets to that, but they put it on a scale. Show me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got a dog here. People, I see it all the time. I posted a picture. I don't know how to do all the little trickery things. I just snap a picture. And Kane is like, he huge. Well, it's just Kane to us. You know what I'm saying? But that's the number one question you get asked is, how big? I had a lady, and it was very, very ironic. Lady out west wanted to get a pup from us, and we have a very good conversation. And she was like, "You ever seen one herd?" No, I actually haven't seen one herd. And in real life like that, no. So we were talking about that. She's like, I need one. Oh man, 170 pounds. I dropped the phone. 170 pounds. I never saw a Rottweiler personally that type of big. And I'm just imagining at 170 pounds, that sounds good, but how functional is this thing going to really be? And so that was the driving force. I'm like, I don't have no 170 pound Rotties. You got to find somebody else. And she was like, I needed to take on whatever she got out there, coyotes or something, whatever.
They're not catching no coyotes that goddamn big. They just keeping coyotes away.
Hey, I'm a city boy, man. I don't know nothing about all that, but I know I ain't ever seen a 170 pound Rotti.
And the crazy part about it is that I get the same damn question. Because I'm a stud guy. Let's keep her. I'm a male gigolo. I get paid a G for 20 minutes of relations. Sexual relations.
So you're living vicariously through your
pups. Yeah. I'm having babies and I ain't got to pay no child support. You know what I'm saying? They paying me. But I say that because people say, well, how big is your boy? I'm like, and then I get in. First of all, unfortunately, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. And I've always been that way. And so when people tell me like, well, my Dobie's 120 pounds, your Dobie's fat. It's like, Dobies are not genetically designed to be 120 pounds. I said, send me a picture up. Look just like a Coke can turned sideways. No symmetry. You can't see the last two ribs. It's like, dude, stop it. My boys will run circles around your ass. I'm not even tripping. And I will stand a better chance of not having health issues in related to that, like hip dysplasia and getting injured all the time, getting winded. And when they asked me, they said, how much do your dogs weigh? I said, well, it depends. They said, depends on what? I said, depends on if he's breeding. If it's a female in heat, he ain't talking about eating.
Absolutely.
If he's working, like if he's training for his IGP title and he got to track every day, Al ain't feeding him as much because Al want him to work for his food. Right? I said,
absolutely.
So I give them a range on what the weight is and how it fluctuates, but I focus more like, yo, this is health. all this embark stuff. Here's his OFA hips and elbows and everything else. I said, here's this whole entire pedigree. And I said, listen, I know I don't have the best Dobies out there. I said, I'm sure there's some better than mine out there. But you know what the problem is? They said, what? I said, you'll never know about them. They don't market their dog. They put one picture up that's 2 or 3 years old. Dogs get old quick. And, you know, and unlike the Rotties, we develop things called dilated cardiomyopathy. And that's a spontaneous mutated gene that can pop up in 5 years, 6 years. It can be negative from birth, but it pops up later. And it's just bananas, man, how we as a culture here, we're Americans, that the people who are trying to buy good pets, they have good intentions, but they ask the wrong questions.
Right. Well, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. I mean,
right. And what we're trying to do as responsible breeders is that we're trying to educate the people on what they don't know, what they're not even asking.
Correct.
So I volunteer that shit to them. Like, yo, what you need to be concerned with is this, and this. You know, you don't want to be concerned with how much does he weigh. I could lie to you, telling me 99.5 pounds.
Right.
Let's go.
Right.
Is that your deciding factor? Is that your deciding factor? You know, because to me, I had my girl Angela Patton online. She's a female trainer out there in Las Vegas. She said, Gerald, it's not the size of the dog that's in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. You know, is the dog going to have, is it going to run? Is it going to protect? Is any instinct going to kick in? Because yeah, your clients and most of my clients are one and the same. They want good pets. Half of them, more than half, when I advertise these puppies should go to an active home, they're not active. They want the Corvette. They want the Grand National that I got sit over right here I'm looking at, but they want a 4-cylinder engine. They want a Great Dane with a Chihuahua personality. They can be mean too.
Right. I mean, again, it's all about the looks. I mean, you know, you want the look of something, but you don't necessarily need the muscle. That's for some people. You know, some people want the muscle. Some people just like the look.
Yeah, ZTR, my man T thought he thought I was a Q dog. No, dog. His cap is all the way over. Same year. His cap is all the way, baby. Shout out to ZTR. Shout out to all the breeders out there. You know, I got my man Paige Haus. We're gonna talk about that word Haus in a minute. And, you know, all my other cats, Ron blessed me to be on yesterday. You know, I'm trying to get ZTR to bring his ass on. He'd rather make a video with just him talking. That way nobody can interject. You know what I'm saying? So we can have a dialogue, baby. But that leads me to another question. Like when a person buys a pup from you, what do that client get? Does he get a puppy contract? I already know the answer to that. But does he get a contract? What kind of health guarantees? And you can be ambiguous with it because I don't want you running it down. What do they get from you as a buyer?
Well, first of all, absolutely, they get a contract. When they send a deposit in, they know what deposit is. They know what pick order that they're going to be. I get people that, because I have multiple males, sometimes people are waiting on a particular pairing. So all of those questions get asked in the beginning. They get a contract, receipts, you know, all of that. I mean, this is a business over here. You know, this is not the only thing that we do. This is really a hobby for us. You know, and so a lot of our processes are just, you know, they come from other businesses, how we run other businesses and things of that nature there. And yeah, that's right. And one of the things is, man, we learn a lot what to do by trial and error and watching some of the things we watch other people do. You know, I always say this, a smart man learn from his own mistakes, a wise man learn from the mistake of others. You know, the thing is, we're always going to make mistakes, but we want to try to limit the number of mistakes and then learn from the ones that we do make, because we all going to make them, period.
And you know what I've been telling my people all the time? I say this all the time, Will, to my Adobe family. I said, listen, I made all the mistakes, so you don't have to. Don't go out there and blow your fucking money. And then you end up saying, damn, I should have listened to Gerald, because I've made the 10 and 20, $30,000 over a course of years mistakes. And in this dog, I won't say it's a game. In this dog subculture, you're going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
You're going to lose some money too.
Man, look. I think that anything that could probably happen has happened. You know, I mean, like, and this is the stuff you don't see on YouTube. You know, puppies arriving dead, trying to revive puppies. You know, losing a whole litter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, the kind of stuff that make you sit down and think, do I want to do this for the long haul? But you don't hear anybody sharing those kind of things, but that's the real of it. You know what I mean? That's the real of it. So, you know, I mean, we have nothing to hide. I mean, we have all of it to happen. I mean, you get to the point again, you know, the first couple of years, anything that could happen. I mean, it's like Newton's law. I mean, it just happened, you know, dealing with customers, you know what I'm saying? All of that, you know, but the thing is, man, we just believe in being transparent, you know what I'm saying? And don't have anything to hide. It is what it is. You come to the channel because you like the dogs. We were talking about that. Listen, it's just like a woman. You're going to see something that looks good to you first, and then you're going to ask all of the questions later. So let's just keep it real. Right? I mean, It sounds real good and noble to say, you know, I want to see what's inside. But if you're not attracted with the outside, you're not even going to get past that to even discover, you know, what's on the inside. Now, I will say, being a little wiser than I used to be, it makes more sense now, because you understand the beauty ain't going to last as long as, you know, the purpose of a dog, you know, or whatever the case is. But we know that now. We didn't know that in the beginning. First, Rotti, I drove over this. I saw somebody in there from Chicago, and I always say it wrong. My wife always teased me. It's right up the street from us. I think I bought a dog out of there and didn't come with papers. I'm excited and everything like that. Didn't know what we were doing. Bought the second dog, had papers, and couldn't register the dogs. I went on one of these other sites to let you register the dog, and didn't know what we do. Didn't lose not a puppy. Didn't know what we was necessarily doing. I mean, our hearts was right, but you know, sometimes true. You gotta jump in, man.
That's true. And you know what's crazy? I had Flex Will on. Of course, you guys know who Flex Will is. I'm sure you do.
The bodybuilder.
Yeah, I had Flex Wheeler on, and Flex said something, and we went out and had dinner and talked about it in depth. And he said something like, "Man, I had to coin that shit." He said, "Jerry, everybody see the glit and glory. I mean, the glit and glory, but nobody knows about the grit and gory. You know, and they don't understand the process of whelping litters and the sleepless nights in Seattle, I would say, for the first 2 or 3 weeks. And you're not going nowhere because mama can roll over the puppies. And oops, that's 3,000. Oops, that's another 3,000. And everything. Horrible. So nobody sees the behind the scenes. That's why I have mad respect for the breeders who have females, because that's a lot of work, bro. That's a lot of work.
And look here.
And I made it. I've noticed there are some breeders, and this is just in breeds in general. A lot of these breeders have this thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is somebody does something 1 or 2 times. Now they consider themselves an expert. Well, in this Doberman, in this dog subculture we in, you're always learning. You're always learning. You can't be an expert at it. You can be proficient, but you cannot be an expert at it, because there's going to be something new that comes up like, God damn, I didn't notice that. Like, I'm just now learning about when one of the females' nipples can't produce milk, and there's some kind of infection going on. Mastitis?
Mastitis, yes. Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck was that? So, like I say, I don't own no female. So how do you fix that if you're at home and the puppies can't eat? What's the substitute diet for infant 4-day-old puppies? Things like that, I don't know, right? And so I think the problem in the dog subculture is that we gatekeep a lot of information because we don't want to see nobody be on the up. They want to keep everybody down, and they want to be one up. Because I already told you, I said, listen, man, there's enough money in this dog world. We call it dog game. In the dog game, that everybody can eat. When you get a pizza, when Domino's deliver that pizza, well, I like Papa John's. Actually, Pizza Hut had the best back in the day, but
we gotta go a little bit local here. I don't see nobody here from Wisconsin, but that's all right, man. Nobody's messing with Papa John's.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know what I'm talking about. But when you get a pizza, it's cut up in slices, and the reason why it's cut up in slices is because it's made to share. Why you want to be the only guy that sits down there and eat a 20-inch by yourself? All you're gonna do is get comatose. Wake up and you're going to feel shitty the next morning again. It's best to share it to other people. That way you guys can bounce knowledge off of them. I went to this Presa Canario. It's like the Super Bowl. Presa Canario is called the PCCA, Presa Canario Club of America. It was in Atlanta, out in Covington, outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And those guys and girls were there to smash each other in this confirmation show. And they had a working competition as well. But you better believe they had judges coming from the Canary Islands to give them the hard truth about their dogs. And these people were bringing the best of their dogs, man. And they was getting there. They came there to be criticized and critiqued on what they have to offer as a Presa Canario breeder, because they're still in that little quandary phase where they're trying to be AKC's acknowledged, certified. And these are the steps they have to do in order for AKC to acknowledge them as a breed where they have registrable rights. And while, even though they're there to kill each other on that stage or in that arena, they're networking with each other.
Absolutely.
They're networking. We need to do more of that networking, because you may have something that I like as far as phenotype. I need to mix in with mine, right? And we need to be able to share information, because that's how we all improve our kennel.
Right. So check this out. Let's go back to the little pizza analogy that you were using. Let's just take it a step further, because a lot of the problems that we have is not just about sharing, Gerald. It's about this. I mean, you know, like you said, there's enough a revenue out there for everybody, right? Everybody. Here's the thing is, how many different companies you chew on when you eat a pizza? Somebody makes the bread, somebody makes the sauce, another company makes the cheese, another company provides the sausages or tomatoes or onions or, you know, things of that nature there, but everybody wins in the end. There's no reason for gatekeeping. No reason for gatekeeping. And the truth is, you have more bickering amongst the breeders than you do the consumers.
Isn't that bananas?
That's ridiculous.
That's bananas.
That's ridiculous. It's almost like I know I may make some guys mad tonight, but it's almost like women dressing for women and not they men. You take a girl.
They do that.
Exactly. That's my point.
They do that. That's bananas. I just found that out, because if I go out in the club, I'm not dressing up to see what you got on and say, "Oh, I got
absolutely."
That fuck that.
Man, a woman go to the club, she look across the club and see somebody dressed just like her. She will go home, put on another outfit and come back to the club. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, you know, you got breeders, instead of educating you and one another. And of course, this statement don't blanket all the breeders, you know, but more bickering amongst each other, really educating the consumers. And at the end of the day, people are still going to like what they like. We can shout it from the mountaintops. They're going to still like what they like.
That's true. That's true. And, you know, supply and demand.
Hey, that's it.
Supply and demand. Let's get to this one question I want to ask, because I've seen this name on a few kennels, even overseas. What does Haus stand for?
Like the house of.
Oh, Haus is house?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that. So I was like Haus van Edelstein and like Gullit von Edelstein and Haus this and Haus. I was like, okay, so now it makes sense. Makes sense. You know what? I was thinking, and we're going to get to the end users, the buyers, the consumers.
Sure. Absolutely.
And me and you are the same generation. I mean, you may have been walking before me for like 7 months, right? But we are in the same generation.
Same thing.
I'm September 71, year somewhere in November. So
24.
Exactly. So when we started dating women or young ladies, when we first started, there was a thing called courtship. We take them out to eat. We go to movies. We do whatever it takes to show that we are severely interested, right? We didn't do, in the beginning and towards the middle, we didn't go from first to third. We went from first. If we got on first base, we went to second base. We tried to steal third, but we got brought back to second. We go to third, right? And then we wait until the other guy comes to bat, and guess what? We go home. Now, we worked the whole plate, first base, second base, third base. And once we got home, we love what we have because we earned it. I think nowadays, and I'm making a podcast Wednesday, we'll touch on a little bit, that people are wanting to go from first to third base when it comes to this breeding game. And I think people who are trying to be first-time breeders, number one, do your research on the different types of genotype of that breed and phenotype. Number two, I think you should do more research. Like, I think one of the number one places to go to learn about the breed in particular is to go to the conformation shows. Look at those dogs in person. Look at the different structures, the different types, temperaments. So my question is to you is, are we in society now where breeders now, first-time breeders, want instant gratification versus raising their own shit, whether they're puppies or not, no matter where they got them from, and then slowly getting their own litters versus them now buying grown dogs from here, and not knowing if geno-wise they matching? That's a loaded question.
Well, first of all, I'll say this. It all goes back to the end user, the buyer, what the buyer wants. Let's just keep it real. See, because we can't use breeder and business in the same sentence, but then separate, you know what I mean, the definitions. So as a business person, you're going to try to create the biggest margin you can. And if people are looking for Rotties with square heads, and if that's what's selling, the business side of you, you're going to go with that. Right now, if you're just, a straight ethical, this is a hobby to you, you know what I'm saying? You love the breed and you want to, advance the breed, no matter what the cost, then of course at that time, you may forgo that lane. But if you're trying to eat off that, I'm just keeping it 100. You're not a good businessman if you're not going to do that. And so that becomes the problem. If you're going to say, I'm a breeder and it's a business, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to make a decision. Is that going to be a business decision or is that going to be a breeder's decision? And more times than none, that comes up. It could show up in terms of, do I test out my dogs? Do I just test a few of my dogs? You know what I mean? If people are not asking for this, do I tell them about this? You know what I'm saying?
What would you somebody asking about mentorship? Yeah, I do mentorship. It's the mentorship that I'm going to be doing. The coaching and mentorship is going to go live in about another 2 weeks. I'm still coming up with the pricing for you guys. Somebody asked about that, but this is about Will from Page Haus Rottweilers right now. And maybe you can be mentoring some people too, Will.
Man, listen, this is how I feel about a mentor. See, first of all, again, like I said it before, just being a businessman and just dealing with customers and things of that nature there. So if I'm talking to someone and I know this is their profession, I'm going to ask them, you know what I'm saying, what is the charge for this call or whatever the case is. Then I'm going to make the educated decision on whether or not I want to, do that. But it all depends on the information I'm going to get. If I felt like the information is going to be worth that, I have no problem paying that. Now, some people feel like you shouldn't have to pay for mentorship or anything like that. Pick your poison. You know what I'm saying? You're going to either pay stupid tax or pay up front to learn how to do it right. Either way, you go. Trust me.
Yep. You're going to pay at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know, and that's, I'm gonna hit on some other points, but that leads me to say that, like, I'm not a dog trainer, even though I know how to dog train. I'm a part of clubs. I've titled my own dogs at some point in my younger years. And when I tell people how much certain trainers are charging for board and train, which is different from just going there training with the dogs, and I mean the canine trainer, they say, "Oh, that's too much money." I'm like, well, remember now, having a dog is a luxury, not a requirement.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, you paying for insurance in regards to liability, because it's not if, it's when that dog gets out of that backyard. When that dog get out of that backyard, will that dog listen to you? You know, because if that dog does something to somebody or some other animal or some other person,
it's a wrap.
You can lose everything. And you know, insurance companies be flipping on that type of shit.
And most people don't even have their kennels, you know what I mean, insured like that, especially not if it's out of your house. Your insurance probably don't even know you got, you know, dogs like Rotties, you know what I mean, or Dobermans or anything that they may be considered to be, you know, an endangered to society.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I'm gonna ask you a good question, and it's kind of like, it's kind of hard for you to be honest, knowing that you know the mistakes that people have made and you have made. But if you was a first time wannabe breeder, what would you be doing? What would be the first things you start looking into before you buy your first animal? What would you be doing?
Well, that would all determine. Let's say, for instance, if it was already a Rotti that I know I want. I mean, hindsight is always 2020. You definitely want to do your homework and kind of see what's out there. Here's what we have today that we didn't have, you know, 20 years ago, you know, when you saw guys, the internet, right? So you got your dog from the homie down the street that just bred some dogs, and you didn't really care if it was full-blooded or not. You know what I'm saying? You had you a best friend. But now, because we have the power of the internet and social media, it's very influential, right? So you get on there, you know, and you just type up, you know, Rotties, and then you're going to see pages and everything like that, right? And again, what do you see? You normally will go with, you know, the first couple of things that you may see, right? And then you just get, you know, caught up in, it could be the hype of anything, but you get caught up in the hype of the dogs or whatever the case is. And then you make your move, right? And you might not learn your lesson until you look back, you know. So one of the things I would do is definitely do my research, and I would quickly learn that the price of the dog does not determine the quality of the dog.
So that leads to other questions. So like, and again, I want to always preface most of my comments when it comes to the Rotti world that I'm a family member, but I'm not a Rotti breeder because I only have one. I only got one skin in the game, so I have no rank. I'm a rookie officer. I'm not even a sergeant, not even a lieutenant. So the power of, you said it too, the influence of the internet. Now, a lot of times people buy animals, whether they're dogs or cats, because there's some exotic cats out there, off of the visibility of a person that's on social media. How has that hurt or helped the breeders like your kennel? Or
say that one more time.
How has that helped or hurt your kennel? Because put it like this, there's breeders out there that are much larger than you. Mm-hmm. There's breeders out there larger than me. But somebody who has an array of dogs that's having litters all the time, how can you compete social media wise with somebody who has, say, 300,000 followers on YouTube, TikTok, versus somebody who has 200? How do you offset that where you still have your own fan base? What are you doing to say, hey, You can go over there and buy what you want from ABC, but guess what? I know what I got. My shit is just as good. How do you battle with that?
I mean, just first of all, just creating your own niche. Because to be truthful, man, the only competition you have in anything is yourself. Because nobody can beat you being you, right? You're always going to have a special way of just doing what it is that you do, right? There are tons of breeders that are been in the game longer than myself, bigger than myself. You know what I'm saying? But all I can do is offer myself. And here's the thing, man. I take my eyes off of particular people. I develop what I like. If you happen to identify with what it is that's coming out of Page House, then you're going to purchase a dog from us. You know what I'm saying? Period. The second thing is, check this out. A lot of times is we get so caught up on where a person is now. This is nowhere near the finish line. This is just the starting. So we talk this thing about, as a new breeder, what do you do? Where do you get your dogs and everything like that? If you already have it in your mind that this is just where we starting, see me in another couple of years. You understand what I'm saying? Then it almost to some degree doesn't matter, because there's no perfect dog out there, at all. You can buy the best dog you think you got. There'd be still 3 more people telling you. And this word, I've heard this word so much lately, trash. What the hell does that even mean?
That's a good point, because I was talking to Ron yesterday, and I think today. I talked to Ron this morning. Just want to thank him for coming on my show. And he said, Gerald, I was venting to him like I've vented to you before. And I said, the problem is, man, is like when I was doing fugitive extradition up in the Bay Area, when I was in law enforcement, I used to go to San Quentin a lot. San Quentin is one of the oldest prisons in California. They have like death row, like the Night Stalker, people like that, and shit like that. But what I didn't understand is that, man, the guys in prison, like state prison, they're the most ear hustling motherfuckers I ever met, man. They're like, they want to know what somebody said 2, 3 cellies down, and I'm like, that's some crazy shit. So now, because I never cared what nobody said 3, 4 cell units down. And the most ear hustling guys, they nosy as shit. So now in the social media space, it's like guys be stalking other guys' pages, and not for the right reason, because here's the deal. I always say it's okay to copycat as long as you're copying the right cat.
Correct.
Right? Nothing wrong with that. But
I mean, that's the highest form of flattery, isn't it?
So for me, it's like, why is it that the Rotti community, you can speak on it if you can, because like I said, I'm not in it like that. Why is it so much just in the dog community, period? Let me stop saying Rotties, because this probably is transcending in all these fucking breeds. Let the truth be told. We just don't know about it. But why is it so much like what they doing? Because I know when I post something, somebody else posts something. And I'm like, I'm so used to like sharing the love with everybody. That's how I am. I'm a country boy. I got rough hands. You know what I'm saying? So I know what it means, hard work. And if I can bring on the smaller breeders and give them a voice, I'm going to do that.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to have more of a dialogue between not just interviewer and an interviewee, and having dialogue, not a monologue, but a dialogue. I think if we start seeing more Rotti breeders interview and just have a talk so everybody can see what's going on and sharing information, I think the community at large will be much better. Because listen, I know you're going to make your money. Other breeders are going to make their money. But at the end of the day, you're my competitor, of course, but we can still share information. We can still have dialogue, because there's going to be times that Paige don't have no puppies on the ground. But
absolutely.
You got this one customer, I want a puppy now. Well, you know what? ZTR may have a puppy a little on the ground, Let me hit him up and ask him because he might have some. I saw something on YouTube. He may have a litter. Hit him up. Or you call old boy, say, hey, you got any puppies? I'm going to send this person over your way. Boom. And guess what? Sometimes he may send you a goddamn Cheesecake Factory gift card, $300-400. Thanks for the referral.
Absolutely. And then on top of the on top of that, man, a lot of customers, man, will appreciate that, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that you may have turned them on to somebody else because you didn't necessarily have what it is that they wanted, right? Again, that just kind of speaks to your to your integrity, right? Yeah. You know, I mean, the thing is, you know, again, back to that word trash, you know, we throw it around there, but no one really can tell, you know, exactly what makes the dog trash. You know what I mean? And unless the dog just, totally doesn't look like a Rottweiler. You know what I mean? That's entirely different, right? You know, but we say this and it's just, you know, breeders attacking, you know, breeders when the average, if we were to do a poll in this room, 2 polls. Number one, I would say majority of people that's in this room are probably breeders, which is a good thing, you know, just to learn and vibe with the different conversations and things of that nature there, you know. 2, my question would be to how many of these breeders that are in a room actually do, you know, more than 20% of their business with somebody that is intentionally going to a show. Mm-hmm. Most of the breeders out there, you know, they're breeding Rotties, you know, and they're rehoming them to, you know, families as a family pet, But then what you have is this great big debate, you know, in terms. I heard something. I heard a guy say this on one of his things. South Carolina GPS.
Yeah, no GPS. Don't fucking shit up. It's called GSP. Don't fucking shit up.
GSP.
Yeah, GSP. Man, yeah.
So he said something. So I'm not going to take credit for this. And you know, there's been this great debate about, you know, health testing your dogs. When you do you get all your dogs health tested? You know, your contract, what you cover, what kind of warranty you have, and everything like that. And he said something that was really key to me. And what he said was, all of that don't matter if you don't have a good contract. It doesn't make a difference whether you test your dog or not, because you ain't gonna do nothing about the problem. Now, the flip side to that is, if you have a solid contract and you follow the stance of your contract, and if something happens to that dog, we're not going to have an issue because I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make it right. Number one, because it's my brand that's on the line. And let me just say this, when it comes to that, man, and this is the thing, Gerald, just across business, period. You know, the thing is, man, your level of customer service. Nobody can claim whether or not they got a good relationship with their breeder until something transpires. Now, based upon how that situation was handled, will be the real test of your relationship with your breeder. Everybody gonna say they got this shit until they shit ain't the shit no more, or there is a problem with it. Now, if you handle it correctly, man, you know what? I had a dog and it had parvo. I gave Will a call. He immediately replaced my dog or did whatever he had to do to make me whole. He's solid with me. That's when you start to have a problem. So before you start talking about the testing of your dogs, ask yourself, are you going to pay the price that's going to keep your kennel whole? Are you going to make people whole if there is a problem? Doesn't make a difference what you do, how you test your dogs. If your contract, and it doesn't even make a difference what your contract says. Are you going to honor your own contract? Man, listen, I have real estate, and sometimes you have to ask yourself, is your dilemma worth taking somebody to court for? And that's just the real of it. So if you're not going to honor your contract, all the other stuff doesn't even matter. So, I mean, that was a gem I received from when, you know, what the young man said. Sound like wisdom to me.
You know what's interesting about GSP, that he be dropping some motherfucking knowledge with that grin on his face. He's always
he's humorous.
Yeah, he's knowing he may not say everything, but he's keeping his shit close to the ground. He keeping his ear close to the ground. And I respect that, because a lot of guys have tunnel vision and they got one thing in mind: money, money, money. Well, if you do it right, the money will come. And the other thing is the business acumen, and you nailed it because when I went to college, I graduated from JSU in 1994, the month before OJ chopped that girl head off, right? And one class that I had to take that had nothing to do with criminal justice, but they made me take it, was called professional development. It's a business class. Now, I'm a criminal justice and correctional counseling major. And what that one class did carried me farther than any profession, any job I ever had in my life. So shout out to Jackson State, because I was a lost kid when I went to college. I had a fucked up childhood, and college was refuge for me, somewhere to stay. But I digress. And that one class changed my life because once a week, I had to dress up in a suit, bring a briefcase, learn how to generate a resume, learn how to interview, and not come into the interview with all of the facial hair and the twisties, and and not have all this Masonic emblems. I was a Mason then, still am, but not active, and have a Kappa pin, because people you interview with may think, is that like Black Panther Party? What is that? Now you got to get into, oh, this is a black fraternity. Well, you're not there to showcase what you are part of. You're there to showcase why you should be hired for the job. And I think what needs to happen is that breeders who are getting in the game, and this is a business because you pay taxes on this shit. And some of these kennels are LLC'd because it is a business, right? I think there has to be, and that's where mentorship comes in, coaching, where you're paying an intangible, but you're paying for the knowledge. Because I know I paid dearly for my college. Citibank was on my ass for 10 years after school, right? And I think we need to start reinvesting in ourselves first before we start going out buying 30, 40 grand worth of fucking dogs and not knowing what I got. See, nobody wants to pay for the intangible. Everybody want to pay for that intangible. They want to pay for something that they can take home. I got this. I pay for this. But they don't want to pay for the power.
Right.
And we need to have a discussion about that. And I'm going to make another podcast in regards to the business aspect, how to protect your interests, umbrella insurance, getting a business license, getting a business insurance, which is only Hartford Insurance sells me my business insurance $800 fucking dollars a year, man.
Yeah, well, that depends on what business you're in. I wish.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm into fire and arson, forensics and shit, but and I have no employees, right? I'm solo, but it pays for my loss of income. It pays for my equipment. I got business, personal property. It pays for the improvements of this place that I rented, and people don't want to pay for that. Listen, insurance is the most intangible thing, but the most important thing if you're going to be in business. You can't touch it. You can't smell it. You got to believe in it. And I think there's a lot to be said. I know that was loaded right there, but what do you think that needs to be done? You know what? We're going to change it up. What do you consider, because this question, or this statement has been thrown around all in my fucking text messages, all on my DMs, and I'm tired of it. So it says that most breeders don't know what the breed standard is. What is the Rottweiler breed standard in a nutshell? Because I've been sent a fucking 30-page fucking PDF about this shit, and I'm not trying to study it. But what do you consider, not what you consider, what do the AKC consider breed standard for the Rottweiler?
I mean, the height, 24 inches for male, 95 pounds or higher for male, for female, 80. Of course, she's going to be a little bit shorter. So, the male starts at around 24 inches, female right around 22 inches. So for instance, 22 inches to 25, 24 to like 27, inches, and so, but then again, the standard, so you have the AKC. Now, can the AKC compared to ADRK or the FCI, they may go into a little bit more detail, in terms of, what that standard is. The AKC really don't judge in terms of the snout in proportion to, the head, and all of that. But again, at the end of the day, I mean, you have those two different schools of thoughts, people that follow the ADRK, like in the show ring, I don't show dogs or anything like that. I just listen, to the gentlemen, those guys, take my hats off up to you that do that. But again, there are different standards and different things like that, that people will follow. So they're kind of like all over the place to some degree. All depends on who it is you're going to follow. No different than the dock tail versus the natural tail. I mean, you're going to always have that debate. If you say I'm just rocking with AKC, one will argue that the AKC is a little bit more relaxed, than a lot of the clubs and everything like that over in Europe. At the end of the day, this is America. And if you're going to rock with the AKC or you're going to rock with the ADRK, does it make you less, of a breeder? Does it make you less of a handler? No. We just do that, Joe. Here's the thing, man. We do that because at the end of the day, this is an unregulated field. You know what that means?
What?
That means I can proclaim myself to be an expert any damn time I want to. And how you going to tell me I'm not? You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of times, man, we're on here, man, we're not on here to be a constant student, of the breed, or to be a constant learner. I mean, a lot of times if you get on here, you sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Or if I just learned something tonight and I start to regurgitate it tomorrow, that was a learning point for me. Somebody else may say, oh, he's just saying the same thing Gerald said. Okay, but was it true? If it was true, it was true. But it just depends on what school of thought you come from.
That's a good point. Hey, guys, sign up for my weekly newsletter. It's free. I get weekly updates on what the Doberman, it's all the Doberman related, health, temperament, what health issues we got coming forth, talking about DCM 4 and 5. Sign up for my weekly newsletter. I'll put that the link I'll put in the chat already. Just click on it, put your email address in there, and you'll get a weekly free newsletter. Ain't no paid subscription required. And guys, also, if you want to follow Will at Page Haus Rottweilers, he's got an Instagram page, which is owned by Meta. He got a Facebook page, which is owned by Meta. And guys, you know how I've been telling you that these pages right here is rented space. The landlord can slip the shit from under your rugs at any given time. And guess what? He has a website. He controls that.
Absolutely.
And to me, the most engaging social media platform to me, I think, is TikTok. He's on TikTok as well. Look up Page Haus Rottweilers. He's on there as well. And again, guys, if you want to buy merchandise, I got beanies, T-shirts. You want to support the cause, go to EuropeanDobermanStud.com. I got sizes, everything. I bought over 100 T-shirts, all sizes. So trust me, it's there for you. Support the brand, support the movement, support the knowledge, support the education, and don't gatekeep. Question. What does ADRK stand for? Because I hear this ADRK shit all the time.
It's a kennel club. It's the ADRK isn't that the kennel club overseas?
Is that what it is? It's called the Algemeria Deutscher Rottweiler Club, obviously. Let me share my screen. But that means, that leads me to believe that the breed standard, that ain't the breed standard here in the U.S.
No. If you were to compare the two, AKC would seem to be a little bit more relaxed.
What? You mean I've been getting blown up by the breed standard on what a European kennel club considers the standard? But we in America. So what rules should I follow? Should I follow American American Kennel Club standards? Or should I follow this Deutsch the European, because I know I'm not following the standards when it comes to the Dobermans. They are European bloodline, but I'm following the American standard, and I'm making sure that it's above and beyond that. But in regards to what I'm learning right now, as I'm learning right now hands on. I thought this was American direct Rottweiler. I thought this shit was all about America. That's where we are in America, right?
Right.
So I've been getting banged on the horn about ADRK. Now, okay, I get it that we're gonna be, that we want the dark eyes, we want the bigger chest, we want the bigger heads, we want the muzzle forehead ratio. We want all that, but we're in America. What's important? Height, weight, gum color, eye color. Because I know in the Dobie world, AKC recognize white Dobermans. They recognize blues. They recognize Isabellas. Now, can they be in AKC shows? No, because the breed standard is the black and tan and the brown and tans. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen some Rottweilers, not in person, that are brown and tan. Have you seen those?
I haven't seen them in person.
I haven't seen them, but you see them online.
Seen them online. As a matter of fact, you had mentioned him. ZTR had a post up. It was real interesting about a Rotti that was 100% Rottweiler, but I guarantee you, majority of the people would have said that was a mutt.
Somebody hung papers.
No, it wasn't hung papers. This dog was 100% Rottweiler.
You talking about the one with the long hair?
No. That's a long-haired Rottweiler. No, this dog had big white patches.
It could be a defect. It can be a defect because Dobies have white spots, and that's considered recessive gene.
No, this is more than white patches. Actually, the dog looked more like the Burmese mountain dog, right? With the structure of a Rotti, And I'm just saying. Whereas, you have those genes that are recessive that can just show up. We're dealing with livestock at the end of the day, right? So there's no real guarantee.
That's true. So let me ask this. This is a good question for Hamilton Haus Kennels. So I see that Hamilton. Maybe you want to chime in. Hamilton said that the ADRK stands for Algemeria Deutscher Rottweiler Club. My question is, he said different breeding regulations and governing pertaining to the standard. So now this is a good question, Hamilton. This is a good question. Are we regulated by the breeding standards here in the United States for German dogs, or are we just regulating ourselves to the breed standard? Because what's the difference between breeding a German Rottweiler to an American bred Rottweiler? Is that still in the breed standard? Because we're going by standards that's in another country. We're not even going over in the country and competing our dogs. We're here. So my question is to you, Hamilton, and you can help me out here. Why is the breed standard for German dogs are so significant over here in America when the dogs here are being shown in American shows, but they're German dogs? So maybe you guys can elaborate on that one. I'm sure Hamilton's going to chime in. And MP said, why get dogs from Europe and not only follow the European standard? Well, good question, because people like the European look. So we got to follow the standard, even though we like the look. We like what we like, right? What do you think about that, Will?
Well, and again, we like what it is we like, right? Personally, some of the dogs that I've seen in the show ring, I like a bigger dog. I like a bigger dog, right? So, again, if the standard is 24 to 27, I might like mine's born to 27, maybe 28, hugging a standard. And again, at the end of the day, man, it's okay because, again, for me as a breeder, I breed what I like. If you happen to identify with what I like, then you're going to buy a dog from me. If you don't like what I like, you ain't going to buy a dog from me. And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. And this is what it is.
Look
That's
at
what
this.
it is.
Watch this. I'm gonna show you this. I'm learning today. Look at this. It says the breed standard. It says the breed standard is the content. You got key data, brief history, but the head, the facial, the body, the limbs, the coat, the size and weight. Here's like right here. It says the male should be 61 to 68 centimeters. That's about 27, 28 inches to the wither.
Yep.
Yeah, and it says for the females 56 to 63. Now I'm always, and then the coat here. Here we go. The coat consists of a top coat and an undercoat. The top coat is of medium length, coarse, dense, and flat. The undercoat must not show through the top coat. The hair is a little longer on the hind legs. Color black with clearly defined markings of a rich tan on the cheek, muzzle, throat, chest, legs, as well as over both eyes, under the base of the tail. Now we see right here that's the breed standard.
Mm-hmm.
How hard was that to find what the breed standard is? Not hard at all. So why is it so much rhetoric with other kennels talking about other kennels don't know what the breed standard is? Because you said it best. I breed for what I like. You have a certain genotype and a phenotype that you like because you're breeding for great pet quality. You're not breeding for a dog to get out there and run around in the show ring. You're not breeding for dogs to go out there to compete for an IGP or or PSA or working titles. You're breeding for the pet quality, great health, great temperament, great structure with minimal issues because you are offering a health guarantee with your puppies.
Correct.
Paige, I want you to leave on a note on what you suggest and leave us something for us to chew on that we should all take as not only buyers but sellers of the breed.
First of all, I definitely say, man, do your homework, right? The Rottweiler is a very unique breed, right? They develop. They're not fast developers, right? And the truth of the matter is, most of us are selling our cute puppies because there's no guarantee what they're going to look like, right? So, check with your breeder for somebody out there that you like what they're doing. Number one, you identify for what it is that they're doing. Kind of check them out, see if they're keeping, dogs, off their own litters and things of that nature there. Again, if a person not keeping their own stuff, that might be a red flag to you right there, unless they have some good real reason why they're not. But definitely do your homework. Man, you're going to make mistakes, man. You're going to make mistakes. The key is not to make as many and then learn from the ones that you do, because nobody out there is going to do it right. Nobody out there, there's no perfect dog. And so for me, my thing is, there's a lot of things that come together, Gerald, when you're starting a kennel. I mean, you get the best that you can afford. You might not can afford something that somebody else was able to do. But again, that's where you're starting, man. That's not where you're ending. So again, most of us, it's the phenotype that we look at, you know what I'm saying? And if that's the look I identify with, then you'll start looking into the genotype of that particular dog, especially if it's something that you want to either create, recreate, or maybe even fine tune, within the standards. Within the standards.
Well, I mean, I want to appreciate you coming on today. We got to do this again. And I want to tell all of my listeners and your listeners, I said, listen, be resilient, but be responsible. Until next time. Boom.
Peace.